Today, Huffington Post decided that they would move Donald Trump from the politics section of their website to the entertainment section. Their reason? They say his campaign is a sideshow. Here to discuss is my favorite lefty, Jonathan Harris. Jonathan, welcome.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks, Jonathan. You know, Donald Trump, I gotta say, he is entertaining. I think it's condescending for Huffington Post to try, I mean, to me, I saw this like them trying to capitalize on Donald Trump's popularity, because now they have Fox News and every other news network saying, ooh, Huffington Post is gonna put him in their entertainment section. But does a candidate have to act boring to be considered a serious candidate?
I don't think it's that he would have to be boring. It's just Trump has always been a bit of a joke. I mean, I think Trump has always been sort of seen as a bit of a sideshow anyway, with his ridiculous marriages, the hairstyle, which, you know, I have to be careful about, but, you know, I gotta be careful about criticizing people's, you know, unusual hairstyles, but, you know, all that stuff has always kind of made him seem a little bit of a sideshow. But the ridiculous racist comments about Mexico and all that stuff,
racist,
they
but
were
anyway,
horrendously
they
racist.
Were not
they were
racist,
horribly
Jonathan.
racist.
We can't really debate this again.
I know,
you
but
can't still believe
they're
this.
pretty bad.
Did you see the black woman who stood up on Dr. Drew when I was on the show?
Yeah,
and
I watched the shows.
Yeah. Okay, so I mean, why do you think any differently than she does? Do we not need jobs in this country? Do you not think that he can create jobs?
But to suggest that Mexico, number one, the way he phrased it, like Mexico is sending, like they have this like orchestrated machine to like find the worst amongst them and send them here. I'm like, this state used to belong to Mexico. It's a ridiculous thing to say.
They're
not sending their criminals. No, they're not.
That's
no,
what
they're not.
was his point.
And actually, the fact.
And he wasn't saying that everyone coming here was rapists.
That actually illegal immigrants or undocumented immigrants are more likely to be the victims of crimes as opposed to committing crimes. So he just not only did what he said.
And the statistics also show that most of that crime is from other illegals, just for the record.
Perhaps, but what I'm saying is they're more likely to be the victim than to commit crime. And so not only what he said was inaccurate, it was really distasteful, and that sort of made him seem like a sideshow. I thought from an editorial standpoint, though, the Huffington Post's position was a little odd, because however you might feel about a candidate, he is running for president. So it seems kind of inappropriate to move him to.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you that Trump is sort of bigger than life. And as I've told you, he's not necessarily interpersonally.
Right.
I don't really like him.
Right.
And I've met him.
I don't know who
And I've met
does,
Ted Cruz, and I've met a lot of the others, and I like those people. But I am so glad that Donald Trump is saying things that no one in the GOP is saying, and putting that conversation out there.
Well, as a liberal, we can agree here. As a liberal, I'm glad that he's leading in the polls. Like, if there's anything that I can do to help him secure the nomination, I want to try to do that. Because
well, good. We can work on that together.
Exactly. I think he's absolutely unelectable. So I hope that he secures the nomination, and that'll be a good thing.
We get kind of tired of the left deciding which of our candidates is unelectable, like Mitt Romney in the last election, and so on and so forth. So I think it's
decided he was unelectable.
I think it's for the right.
I think that comment kind of took care of it for him.
But during the whole primary process, you know, is everyone saying that Mitt Romney was electable? And I never thought he was electable. I don't want people who are in a different party to tell me what's electable for my party.
But it turned out he wasn't electable because he didn't get elected.
Right, but I'm saying the narrative of the left was that he was the only one that was electable.
Well, I think of the group that was running, that was probably true. It was like McCain, of the ridiculous group that was running. McCain was probably the one that was the most electable, but even he wasn't electable.
Oh my goodness. Well, you know, this is the thing. This is why we have primaries. Because it's not up to people on the other side to decide who should be in your primary or mine. All right, another great tweet came out from Trump. You've got to enjoy his Twitter feed.
It is very entertaining.
He said, Senator John McCain should be defeated in the primaries. Graduated last in his class at Annapolis. Dummy. He really said that? I knew that he was saying that some of the other candidates needed to take an IQ test, but that was an interesting one.
Trump is always so interesting to me because I feel like he lives in this world that sort of exists independent of reality. Like, I remember when he was calling Rosie O'Donnell like fat and disgusting, and I'm like, you guys probably wear the same jacket size. Like, do you look in the mirror very often? It was just sort of, I think he just sort of exists in this world like unto himself. Like, he's like, I'm for traditional marriage. Like, bro, you've been divorced how many times? Like, what world do you live in? But he is I think because he lives in that sort of separate universe, he becomes extremely entertaining. So
don't you think, though, that by the time you're at that echelon of politics, you're pretty much living? I mean, Hillary ain't living here either.
She's not.
She's
not
in la la land.
And as a matter of fact, I think that's probably one of the worst things for Hillary, is trying to portray herself as an everyday American. She's not. And she really should just come at it from the perspective of, I'm not an everyday American, but I want to do good things for the country. country because this like flat broke comment. I'm like, if that's what flat broke is to you, I'm sure everybody would like to be flat broke. Like,
exactly.
You know, so
exactly.
yeah, you're definitely
like
right
Trump's
about that.
comment that I loved, where he said, "I care more about my country than my company." And I thought, you know, you are giving up a lot with your. That's the reason why.
I hope so, because his companies have been bankrupt a lot. So I hope he cares more about
they have, but
the
he's
country.
built them back every time. Gotta love that.
Yeah.
All right, let's take another look at one of his best tweets this week. It said, "At Governor Perry failed on the border. He should be forced to take an IQ test,
Ouch.
Jonathan, before being allowed to enter the GOP debate."
Ouch. That's, you know, Trump is anything but subtle.
Yeah.
So, you know, I would agree with him. I mean, like I said, as a liberal, he's doing all the things I want a Republican candidate to do.
I mean, let me ask you this question. If you had to have a Republican in the next election, and chances are the way elections cycle, you just might. If you had to have one, would you rather have the polished, white-gloved, buttoned-up, consultant-fed candidate like a Mitt Romney or like a John McCain, or would you rather have somebody that, even if you disagreed with them, when they said it, you knew they really meant it? Which would mean more to you, Jonathan, honesty or package?
God, choosing the Republican I would like is like asking where in my face I would like to get punched. I don't.
That was my next question.
I don't.
How did you know?
I can't answer. But I mean, I do. That was actually one of the reasons I liked Chris Christie initially. And then it became sort of a shtick of his, and it became sort of disingenuous. But at first, that's what sort of made him seem refreshing.
I think a lot of us felt that way.
He was very refreshing about him, but it became sort of a shtick, and it was kind of fake. So, but yeah, that's a rough choice. I'm going to stick with the left side. I'm going to stick with the left side.
He's not going to help us decide. All of you primary voters who were on pins and needles wondering who Jonathan would pick for our primary.
He's
let us down again. Thanks for being with us, Jonathan. We always enjoy you so much.